What if I told you that there are some country songs people will never forget? From Johnny Cash's Ring of Fire, which Rolling Stone called it the best country song of all time, to Dolly Parton's timeless Jolene that has been covered countless times. Here are the 20 country songs we'll never forget. He Stopped Loving Her Today, George Jones.
She still preyed upon mine.
By 1980, George Jones was in a bad place. His marriage to Tammy Wynette had ended, and his life had taken a downward turn with heavy drug use. Many people thought his career was over. Then producer Billy Sherrill brought him a song called He Stopped Loving Her Today. It had been written by Bobby Braddock and Curly Putman, however. When Jones first heard it back in 1978, he hated it. He thought it was too long, too sad, and too depressing. When the song was released, it changed everything for George Jones. It became a massive success, earning him a Grammy Award for Best Male Country Vocal Performance in 1980. That same year, the Academy of Country Music named it both Single of the Year and Song of the Year, and the Country Music Association gave it Song of the Year in 1980 and 1981. It revived Jones's career, secured him a renewed record deal with CBS, and became one of the most celebrated songs in country music history. Years later, Rolling Stone ranked it among the greatest songs ever, number 142 on its list of the 500 greatest songs of all time, and number 4 among country songs. In 2007, it was added to the Grammy Hall of Fame. Jolene, Dolly Parton.
Jolene, Jolene, oh, I'm begging of you, please.
Not long after Dolly Parton married her husband, Carl Dean, there was a red-haired bank clerk who liked to flirt with him whenever he came into the local branch. Around the same time, a young fan with striking looks came up on stage to get Dolly's autograph. In Dolly's mind, and together with the bank clerk's behavior, they inspired the character of Jolene. In the song, one of the lyrics was, "Please don't take him just because you can." We never find out for sure if Jolene truly plans to steal the man, and that mystery has led other artists to create their own answer songs over the years. Released as a single in October 1973, Jolene quickly became Dolly's second #1 solo hit on the country charts, reaching the top in February 1974. It also crossed over into the pop charts and even made a small impact on adult contemporary radio. By December 2019, it had sold over 935,000 digital copies in the U.S. In the UK, the song was released later and became Dolly's first top 10 hit there, reaching number 7 in 1976. Jolene is known as one of the most powerful and emotional songs in country music. Rolling Stone ranked it number 9 on their list of the 100 greatest country songs of all time in 2014. In 2024, when the magazine created a special list of the 200 greatest country songs of all time, Jolene claimed the #1 spot. Over the years, countless artists have covered it in English and Spanish, including Olivia Newton-John, The White Stripes, Miley Cyrus, and Måneskin. In 2016, Pentatonix released their own version with Dolly herself, and it won a Grammy Award for Best Country Duo Group Performance. Ring of Fire, Johnny Cash.
Into a burning ring of fire, I went down, down, down.
Ring of Fire started as a song written by June Carter and Merle Kilgore. At first, it wasn't Johnny Cash who sang it, it was June's sister, Anita Carter. She recorded it in 1962 for her album Folk Songs Old and New, calling it Love's Ring of Fire. The song used fire as a way to describe love as passionate, exciting, and dangerous. Anita's version was released as a single and even got attention in Billboard magazine, but it never became a big hit. Johnny Cash, however, heard Anita's recording and couldn't get it out of his head. He later said he had a dream where he heard the song played with Mexican horns, a style that had recently become popular thanks to Herb Alpert's 1962 hit The Lonely Bull. Cash told Anita, "If you don't have a hit with it in a few months, I'm going to record it the way I feel it." When Anita's version didn't take off, Cash kept his word. He recorded Ring of Fire with the mariachi-style horns from his dream. He also brought in Mother Maybelle and the Carter sisters to sing harmony. Cash's version shot to number 1 on the country charts and stayed there for 7 weeks. Decades later, it was certified gold and had sold over 1.2 million digital downloads. Country Music Television named it the 4th greatest country song ever, while Rolling Stone called it the best country song of all time and ranked it 87th among the greatest songs ever written. I Walk the Line, Johnny Cash.
The close watch on this heart of mine, I keep my eyes wide open.
In 1956, Johnny Cash wrote and recorded a song that would become one of his most famous songs, I Walk the Line. Like many of his songs, the music was simple, but the lyrics told a heartfelt story of loyalty and love. The song's unusual chord progression came from an accident years earlier. While Cash was stationed in Germany with the U.S. Air Force, he was playing guitar runs on his tape recorder. When he played the tape backwards, the sound caught his ear and stayed in his mind. Cash later said he wrote the song backstage one night in Gladewater, Texas, not long after he got married. It was his way of pledging himself to his wife. At first, he planned for it to be a slow ballad, but producer Sam Phillips thought it would work better with a faster beat. Cash agreed, and that change helped the song take off. Fellow performer Carl Perkins also suggested the perfect title, I Walk the Line. Recorded at Sun Studio on April 2, 1956, the song was released a month later. That summer, it spent 6 weeks at number 1 on the U.S. Country Jukebox charts, reached number 2 on the country bestseller list, and even climbed to number 17 on the overall Billboard Bestsellers in Stores chart. Over time, I Walk the Line became a landmark in music history. It's featured in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's permanent list of the 500 songs that shaped rock and roll. In 2004, Rolling Stone ranked it number 30 on their list of the 500 greatest songs of all time, and in 2014, they named it the number 1 country song of all time. Take Me Home, Country Roads, John Denver.
West Virginia.
Take Me Home, Country Roads is a song written by Bill Danoff, Taffy Nivert, and John Denver. Bill Danoff and Taffy Nivert had been working on the song for about a month, planning to sell it to Johnny Cash. But when they played what they had so far for John Denver one night, he fell in love with it instantly. He told them he had to record it himself, and they dropped the idea of selling it to anyone else. At that point, the verses and chorus were written, but the song still needed a bridge. To make the lyrics more authentic, Taffy grabbed an encyclopedia to learn about West Virginia. The very first fact she found was that the rhododendron was the state flower. She tried to work the word into the song. They worked through the night, shuffling words and swapping lines, and by 6 in the morning on December 30th, 1970, the song was complete. When it was released, Country Roads became a hit, reaching number 1 on both the Record World Pop Singles chart and the Cashbox Top 100, and number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was certified gold in 1971 and went platinum decades later in 2017. By then, it had sold over 1.8 million digital copies in the United States alone. Over the years, the song became more than just a hit. It became a symbol of West Virginia. In 2014, it was even named one of the state's 4 official anthems. Friends in Low Places, Garth Brooks.
The last one to know, the last one to show, I was the last one.
Friends in Low Places began in 1989 when songwriters Earl Bud Lee and Dwayne Blackwell came up with the idea. At first, it was recorded by David Wayne Chamberlain, but around that time, the two writers also handed the song to a young, little-known singer named Garth Brooks. Brooks had just finished his first album and wasn't yet a star, but when he heard the song, he immediately loved it. He recorded a demo and not long after decided to make it his own. In 1990, Brooks put his version on his second album, No Fences, and released it as the lead single on August 6th. The song was an instant hit. For 4 weeks, it held the number 1 spot on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart. It also became a fan favorite, known for its sing-along chorus and playful, defiant spirit. That same year, Friends in Low Places won Single of the Year from both the Academy of Country Music and the Country Music Association, cementing its place as one of Brooks's signature songs. The Gambler, Kenny Rogers.
Met up with a gambler. We were both too tired to sleep.
The Gambler was written by Don Schlitz, but it was Kenny Rogers who turned it into a classic. Rogers recorded the song at the Jack Clement Recording Studio in Nashville. A group of talented musicians backed him, including Ray Edenton and Jimmy Capps on acoustic guitar, Pete Drake on pedal steel, Billy Sanford on electric guitar, Jerry Kerrigan on drums, Hargus Robbins on piano, Bob Moore on acoustic bass, Tommy Alsop on baritone bass, and even the Jordanaires and Dottie West, though she wasn't credited on backing vocals. The song tells a story. One summer evening, the narrator is riding a train with no real destination. He meets a gambler who can see right away that he's down on his luck. The gambler offers to share some life advice in exchange for a drink of whiskey. What follows is part conversation, part lesson about knowing when to take chances and when to walk away. Released in November 1978 as the title track of Rogers' album, The Gambler, the song was a huge success. It hit #1 on the country charts and even crossed over to the pop charts, something rare for a country song at the time. In 1980, it earned Rogers the Grammy Award for Best Male Country Vocal Performance. Your Cheatin' Heart, Hank Williams. Your Cheatin' Heart was written by Hank Williams in 1952, and it went on to become one of the most famous songs in country music. The idea came to him while he was driving from Nashville, Tennessee to Shreveport, Louisiana, with his fiancée, Billie Jean Jones. During the trip, Williams started talking about his first wife, Audrey Shepard, and called her a cheatin' heart. Almost instantly, the lyrics began forming in his mind, and he dictated them to Billie Jean right there in the car. Later that year, Williams recorded the song at Castle Studio in Nashville. Fred Rose produced the session, and it turned out to be Hank's last recording before his untimely death on January 1st, 1953, while traveling to a New Year's concert in Canton, Ohio. When Your Cheatin' Heart was released just weeks later, the timing made it even more powerful. Fans, mourning his loss, connected deeply with the song's raw emotion. It shot to the top of Billboard's country and western chart, staying there for 6 weeks and selling over 1 million copies. Over the years, many artists covered it. Joni James had a jukebox hit with her version in 1953, and Ray Charles brought it to a whole new audience in 1962, reaching the pop charts in both the US and the UK. Crazy, Patsy Cline.
Crazy for feeling so lonely.
Crazy was written by Willie Nelson in the early 1960s, back when he was living in Houston. At the time, he was working for Pappy Daly's D Records, hosting radio shows, and playing music in local clubs. Later, he moved to Nashville to work as a songwriter for Pamper Music. Willie believed in Crazy, but it wasn't easy to find a singer for it. Country songs in those days usually used just 3 chords, but Crazy had more than that, and many artists thought it was too complicated. One singer even made a demo, but the record label decided the song wouldn't sell and passed on it. Things changed when Willie's friend and fellow songwriter Hank Cochran played the song for producer Owen Bradley, who worked with Patsy Cline. Bradley thought it could be perfect for her, except there was a problem. Patsy's husband had once brought her another Willie Nelson song, Nightlife, and she didn't like it. She'd told him not to bring her any more of Willie's sad songs about heartbreak. But Cochran was determined. He drove Willie to Patsy Cline's house and went inside to play Crazy for her while Willie waited in the car. This time, she was interested. She invited Willie in, and he even showed her how to sing it. Released in October 1961, Crazy quickly became a hit. It climbed to #2 on the country charts, reached #9 on the pop charts, and became Patsy Cline's only top 10 pop hit. With this success, and with her earlier hit, I Fall to Pieces, Billboard named her Favorite Female Country Artist of 1961. Coal Miner's Daughter, Loretta Lynn. Coal Miner's Daughter was written and sung by Loretta Lynn. Born in 1932, Loretta grew up during the Great Depression in a small community called Butcher Hollow, Kentucky. The song tells the story of her own childhood, what life was like growing up in a poor coal mining family. In the lyrics, Loretta calls herself the coal miner's daughter, describing how her father spent long days working deep in the mines and also farmed corn to help feed the family. She remembers her mother working just as hard at home, washing clothes, cleaning, and keeping the household running. Released as a single in 1970, Coal Miner's Daughter quickly became Loretta's signature song. It reached #1 on the Billboard Country chart and was later included on an album with the same name. The song was praised for being one of the most personal and honest songs in country music. Carrie Odell of the Library of Congress even called it perhaps one of country music's most autobiographical songs ever. If you are enjoying this video, appreciate it by giving it a thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. The Dance, Garth Brooks. The Dance was written by Tony Arata and recorded by Garth Brooks for his very first album. It was the last song on the record, and in April 1990, it became the fourth and final single released from that album. Before the music video began, Brooks gave a little explanation on what the song was about. He said the song had two meanings. On the surface, it's a love song about the end of a passionate relationship. But it can also be heard as a story about someone who dies for something they believe in after having their moment of glory. That deeper layer gave the song an emotional weight that connected with people all over the world. When The Dance came out, it was a hit not just in the United States, but also in Europe. In the UK, it even broke into the Pop Top 40. Back home, it climbed to #1 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart and stayed there for 3 weeks. The success of The Dance helped make Garth Brooks one of the biggest stars in country music, and it became one of his signature songs. In 1990, the Academy of Country Music named it both Song of the Year and Video of the Year. Years later, in 2003, CMT ranked it #14 on their list of the 100 greatest songs of country music. Mama Tried, Merle Haggard. Mama Tried was written and recorded by Merle Haggard along with his band, The Strangers. It was released in July 1968, and it became the title track of his album by the same name. The song tells a deeply personal story. In the song, Haggard looked back on the pain he caused his mother when, as a young man, he was sent to San Quentin prison in 1957. He had been convicted of robbery and ended up serving 3 years. In the song, Haggard shows sympathy for his mother, who did everything she could to guide him in the right direction. But no matter how hard she tried, teaching him values, taking him to church, he kept making bad choices until she couldn't help him anymore. When it was released, Mama Tried quickly became a hit. By August 1968, it had reached #1 on Billboard's Hot Country Singles chart, staying there for 4 weeks. Its impact lasted far beyond its release. In 1999, it was honored with the Grammy Hall of Fame Award. In 2016, it was added to the National Recording Registry for its cultural and historical importance just 2 weeks before Haggard passed away. And in 2021, Rolling Stone ranked it number 376 on their list of the 500 greatest songs of all time. Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. Willie Nelson. Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain was first recorded by Elton Britt in 1946, then made more popular a year later by Roy Acuff. Over the years, many artists sang it, but Willie Nelson's 1975 version became the most famous. At the time, Nelson was known more for writing songs than singing them. He had penned classics like Crazy for Patsy Cline and Hello Walls for Farron Young, but as a performer, his chart success had been small. He hadn't had a top 10 hit in 13 years. That changed with Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. Nelson recorded the song for his album Red-Headed Stranger. The song's simple, stripped-down sound felt like something from the 1940s. Just Nelson's gentle voice and guitar carrying the emotion. When it was released in October 1975, the song went straight to #1 on the Billboard Hot Country Singles chart, Nelson's first as a singer. It also crossed over to pop radio, reaching #1, 21 on the Billboard Hot 100. By the end of the year, it was the third biggest country hit of 1975. The song earned Nelson his first Grammy Award for Best Male Country Vocal Performance. Decades later, Rolling Stone placed it at number 48 on their list of the 100 greatest country songs of all time. Stand By Your Man, Tammy Wynette. Stand By Your Man was written and sung by Tammy Wynette, along with her producer Billy Sherrill. When it first came out, not everyone agreed on what the song meant. Some critics, especially during the women's liberation movement of the late 1960s and early 1970s, felt it sent a conservative message about women staying with their husbands no matter what. Others saw it differently, believing Wynette was giving a voice to working-class wives who were dealing with marital struggles during a time when gender roles were changing. Wynette herself said she never intended the song to make any kind of political statement. It was just about love and commitment. Released on September 20th, 1968, the single quickly gained radio play and entered the Billboard charts in October 1968. It stayed at number 1. Won on the U.S. country charts for 3 weeks and even crossed over to the pop charts, where it reached number 1. 19. The song also helped turn Wynette from a moderately successful singer into a true country music superstar. It earned Wynette the Grammy Award for Best Female Country Vocal Performance in 1970, was later inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame, and was named the #1 country song of all time by CMT. In 2010, the Library of Congress added it to the National Recording Registry for its cultural and historical importance. I Will Always Love You, Dolly Parton. In 1973, Dolly Parton wrote, I will always love you for her friend and mentor, Porter Wagoner. They had worked together for 7 years, but Dolly was ready to go her own way. The song was her way of saying goodbye with love, not bitterness. Dolly actually wrote 2 of her biggest hits, I Will Always Love You and Jolene, on the very same day. She also once encouraged Patti LaBelle to record I Will Always Love You, believing Patti's voice would be perfect for it. Patti kept putting it off and years later admitted she regretted not doing it, especially after hearing Whitney Houston's version. I Will Always Love You was released on March 18, 1974, as the second single from Parton's 13th solo studio album, Jolene. During its original release, I Will Always Love You reached number 4 in Canada on the Canadian RPM Country Tracks chart and peaked at number 1 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart, becoming one of the best-selling singles of 1974. Whitney Houston recorded the song for the 1992 movie The Bodyguard, and her version became one of the most successful singles in history. It stayed at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 14 weeks, a record at the time, and was certified diamond in the U.S. It became the best-selling single ever by a female artist in the country, and top charts in 34 countries. Always on My Mind, Willie Nelson. Always on My Mind is a heartfelt ballad written by Wayne Carson, Johnny Christopher, and Mark James. The song was first recorded by Brenda Lee and released by Gwen McCrae in March 1972 under the title You Were Always on My Mind. Brenda Lee's version came out a few months later in June. A decade later, in 1982, Willie Nelson recorded his own version. It became a massive hit, climbing to number 1 on Billboard's Hot Country Singles chart and staying there for 2 weeks. It also crossed over into pop music, reaching number 1, 5 on the Billboard Hot 100, and staying on the chart for 23 weeks. By the end of the year, it was the top country single of 1982. In 1991, the single was certified platinum in the U.S. Nelson's version swept the 25th Grammy Awards in 1983. The songwriters won both Song of the Year and Best Country Song, while Nelson himself took home Best Male Country Vocal Performance. The Country Music Association also honored the track, naming it Song of the Year in both 1982 and 1983, and awarding Nelson Single of the Year in 1982. Wichita lineman Glen Campbell. In 1968, songwriter Jimmy Webb got a call from Glen Campbell, who wanted a new song. Campbell had a hit with By the Time I Get to Phoenix, and now wanted something with a strong sense of place. One day, while driving through the flat open land of the Oklahoma Panhandle, Webb noticed a long stretch of telephone poles. On one pole, a lineman was talking into his handset. Webb imagined what that man might be saying to his girlfriend, and in his mind, he climbed up that pole too. From there, the idea for the Wichita Lineman was born. Campbell recorded the song with the help of the famous session musicians known as the Wrecking Crew, and it became one of his most loved hits. Rolling Stone ranked it number 206 on its list of the 500 greatest songs of all time. Bob Dylan even called it the greatest song ever written, and music writer Stuart McConey described it as the greatest pop song ever composed. On the Road Again, Willie Nelson. In 1980, Willie Nelson took on his first big movie role in Honeysuckle Rose. The film told the story of an older musician traveling across the country with his family, who were also part of his band. Not long after signing on, Nelson was on a flight with the film's director, Jerry Schatzberg, and the executive producer. They asked him if he could write a song about life on the road for the movie's theme. Right there on the plane, Nelson grabbed a barf bag and scribbled down the lyrics to what would become On the Road Again. The song had a lively train beat rhythm and was released with the Honeysuckle Rose album in 1980. It shot to number 1 on the Billboard Country chart and even reached number 20 on the pop chart. Nelson won a Grammy for Best Country Song, and the tune was also nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Song. Years later, On the Road Again was ranked number 471 on Rolling Stone's list of the 500 greatest songs of all time, and in 2011 it was honored with a place in the Grammy Hall of Fame. Folsom Prison Blues, Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash wrote Folsom Prison Blues after watching the 1951 movie Inside the Walls of Folsom Prison while serving in the U.S. Air Force in West Germany. The film sparked his imagination, and he used the melody and many lyrics from Gordon Jenkins's 1953 song Crescent City Blues. He created a snare drum sound by sliding a piece of paper, like a dollar bill, under his guitar strings and strumming in a rhythmic way. The result was a mix of country, rockabilly, and rock and roll. Released in 1956, along with So Doggone Lonesome, the song reached number 1. 4 on the Billboard Country chart, but it was Cash's 1968 live performance at California's Folsom State Prison that truly made it legendary. This version became a number 1 hit on the country music charts and reached number 1, 32 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the same year. This version also won the Grammy Award for Best Country Vocal Performance, Male, at the 11th Annual Grammy Awards in 1969. Fancy, Reba McEntire. In 1969, Bobby Gentry wrote and recorded a song called Fancy. It told the story of a young woman who grows up in deep poverty and turns to prostitution to survive. The song struck a chord with listeners, climbing into the top 40 on the Billboard Hot 100 and the top 30 on the country chart. It became one of Gentry's most famous songs and her last solo single to reach the pop charts. More than 20 years later, in 1990, Reba McEntire gave Fancy a new life. She had wanted to record it since 1984, but her producer at the time thought it was too closely tied to Gentry. When she began working with a new producer, Tony Brown, she finally got the chance to include it on her album, Rumor Has It. McEntire's version soared to number 1, 8 on the Billboard Hot Country chart. Reba also made a memorable music video that expanded the story, and she turned the song into a dramatic showpiece for her live concerts. Over the years, Fancy became one of what she calls her possible signature hit. By 2019, the song had sold 760,000 digital copies in the U.S., and in 2024, Rolling Stone ranked McEntire's version at number 65 on its list of the 200 greatest country songs of all time. Which of these songs do you enjoy listening to most? Let us know in the comment section. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our next video for more content.